The other concept is going to refer to this bottom picture here. Now what we're looking at here, and specifically what I want to look at, is the upper left-hand corner of the bottom picture. I'm going to draw, again, very rudimentary drawing here, okay? Can't believe I just did that. Calcaneus. Talus. And this is going to be my tibia. So obviously we're looking at the medial side here. Now, again, there's the ground. What happens is that I strike my heel on the ground, and what happens is that the ground obviously pushes up, body weight pushes down, and now what I have here is a plantar flexion moment. So what happens, and as you can see from the picture over here, look at that line between the calcaneus and the talus. So the calcaneus shoots posteriorly. The talus, because it has nowhere else to go, plantar flexes. So understand these motions that are happening in the sagittal plane. Understand then what happens in the frontal plane. Understand what happens in the transverse plane as well. Because all three motions are going to happen at the same time. So be very aware of what's happening in each plane. Also start looking at the myology and start looking at how each of those motions happen, and then what muscles create that motion, and what muscles eccentrically contract to control that motion. This is really where I want you to spend some time with the material, because as you can already see, we have a lot of moving parts here. And we haven't added in what effect that has in the knee, what effect that has at the hip, what effect that has at the pelvis, and farther up the chain. So spend some time with this material. Make sure you understand this material. So moving on to the ligaments, what we look at here is we have a medial picture, and we have a lateral picture. Medial ligaments for the ankle, pretty darn easy. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. All right, here's my tibia. Here's my calcaneus. Here's my talus. What we're gonna see here is that on the medial side, we're going to have one large ligament that has four distinct parts. This is going to be my deltoid ligament. Really super easy. We're going to have a portion that connects my tibia to my talus. We're going to have a portion that comes out towards my navicular. And then we're going to have portions that connect anterior and posterior aspects of the calcaneus. Super easy. So I'm going to fill those in. And what I want you to note here is, and I'm not going to give you the answers right away because I want you to go back through the notes and figure it out. What we're going to call each of those sections, and also what motions those are going to limit. So really take a look at that. Spend some time with this. Again, if you have to, pause the video and we'll move on to the lateral side of the ankle. So when we're looking at the lateral side of the ankle here, be aware that what we're looking at here is obviously more the fibula. So I'm going to draw, again, really rudimentary fibula. We're going to look at a calcaneus. Again, rudimentary calcaneus. You guys know me well enough by now, know I can't draw. Also going to look at navicular. And then in the middle is going to be my talus. So on the lateral side, what I want you to really think about here is start thinking about, again, everything's going to be named for where it attaches. So if I have a ligament that attaches my fibula to my calcaneus, that's going to be my calcaneal fibular ligament. I'm also going to have, remember from the reading, anterior talofibular ligament. I'm also going to have a posterior. I'm going to draw that in a little better so you can see. Posterior talofibular ligament. So understand how those ligaments work. Also understand that when we talk about a traditional ankle sprain or a low ankle sprain, typically we're looking at ATFL being ruptured or stretched, PTFL being ruptured or stretched, and sometimes calcaneofibular ligament being ruptured or stretched. So just be aware of those. Again, this is another drawing here. I wanted to provide this as a more detailed look. This is straight out of Netter's coloring book, so if you want, take a look at this, draw it out, color it in. Obviously, the folks over at Netter's have done a much better job than I do drawing, so I want you to really take advantage of that. So last concept here. So what I want to look at here is, and you guys have probably noticed this from watching sports or seeing it in the news, or even maybe you have experience with this, is the concept of a high ankle sprain. So when we're looking at a high ankle sprain, we're looking at a different type of ankle sprain. So we're going to call this is my fibula, this is my tibia. So when we're looking at a high ankle sprain, the ligaments that we're going to look at here are going to be anterior tibiofibular ligament. And you know just as well as I do that if we have an anterior one, then we're going to have a posterior one too. So that one, we're going to draw that one really small because that one's going to be in the back. So posterior tib fib ligament. We're also going to have something called a crural osteointerosseous tibiofibular ligament. We're going to draw the guy in the middle. Again, don't get too confused with these terms. Says what it is what it says. So crural interosseous tibiofemoral ligament. When we're talking about a high ankle sprain, what happens is that one or more of these ligaments are disrupted. And literally what you see is you see a separation between the fibula and the tibia. How this usually happens is through a twisting injury. Usually the tibia goes that way, the fibula goes that way, and a separation occurs right in the middle. So when we talk about a high ankle sprain, that's exactly the ligaments that are involved.